fine looking football player right there. Welcome everybody. Hey, thank y'all for, I've been coming to this clinic for a while, and it's really nice that our coaches had the opportunity to talk tonight, and anytime you need an extra speaker or anything, the university, Mike or our coaches will be more than happy to visit. I hope you enjoyed it. Man, what a great group of speakers, huh? Yeah. Man, it was incredible. Some of these guys that came up here and talked, and I just want to visit with you a little bit tonight. I've got some things, some of this I talked at the AFCA convention. Some of it's new, but some things that are important to me. And we'll roll it up a little bit. Real quick, these are some of our mini clinics. We're going to try something. I don't know if it's going to be worth anything or not, but we're going to try it, and I bet it will be. So there's our spring, our practices. And after each practice, well, like you'll see, March 16, 29, we're going to have a little mini clinic by our coaches for about 20 or 30 minutes after each practice there on those dates. Those dates would be more for any time that we have a non-practice day between. So that's our practice schedule right there. We're going Sunday, Tuesday, Wednesday that first week. Spring break starts for us on the 18th of March, so we're going to be able to lift early that day on the 18th and let our kids go to class and leave early. Plus, Jamie and I are the king and queen of the damn St. Patrick's parade out here, so I had to adjust their spring practice. That's the truth. So, anyway, that's a spring practice, and you'll see who's our team camp. We're going to try a team camp. I have to apologize to you. Our camps were the worst thing in the world last year as far as getting those things organized by me. And we're trying to get the dates out a little bit better. We heard from a lot of you that you'd like to have a team camp, a Shells camp, and so we're going to try it if we can get the right number of people. We don't have the cost up there for that yet because I haven't had an opportunity to ask all the high school coaches what you think will be fair. Our coaches get paid well. I get paid well. We're not trying to make any kind of money on the camp. We're basically trying to pay for the insurance, the t-shirt, and whatever meal that we provide. Those days in the SEC program should and have gone by. Back in the old days when nobody made any money, we were trying to make camps money off of camps for our assistant coaches and GAs and all that. We make plenty of money, so we're trying to do what's fair there. The same way with the 7-on-7 camp. I am comfortable with the O-line, D-line camp. That'll be 8 to 12 of those days, and we'd love for you to come to those. So if you need information, we'll get that sent out to you real quick on that. But again, the cost for the team in the 7-on-7, I'm not comfortable with it yet until I talk to the state coaches. Okay, the next one. In our signing class, the thing I'm most proud of is that we were able to sign 10 kids from the state of Arkansas. And the thing about that, guys, is you know and I know that we're not all going to agree on who we should sign. You signed him, well, you should, this guy's better than him. I get all that. We have criteria that we look for, but we do want to start in the state of Arkansas first. And if you look at it, over half, I believe, about half of our signing class was from the state. And the reason that is, in my opinion, is because of the coaches in our state. You're developing. I believe that number will grow. I think it'll get bigger. But there's something about being from the state of Arkansas and playing for the Razorbacks. And, when we came here, probably our biggest thing that we wanted was we wanted to make the coaches proud of us, the high school coaches in the state. We wanted you guys to look at us and say, we're representing you. And I think that was the biggest thing. And the second thing is, we wanted to be able to win the pep rally in our state. We wanted to be able to have, if you want 50 hats, fine, you want 3 hats, but if you want nothing, but to get up and say, hey, I'm going to play for the Arkansas Razorbacks. That is what we wanted, and we wanted the pep rally to go crazy. Not going, damn, why are they going to play for Arkansas? We want it to be a big deal. We're not quite there yet, but we're working on it. But the thing about it is I want to thank you for letting us recruit your players, and I don't want to go over every one of them. That's who we signed, but I did put that up there because we signed 10 out of our state. That's probably the most in a while, and we look forward to growing our relationship with the coaches in the state of Arkansas. Next. Walk-on program, go ahead. We currently have 13 incoming kids from the state of Arkansas. And there's a benefit that you may not be aware of. But in the state of Arkansas, a walk-on, he's going to get a training table, he's getting a red card, which is an evening, $75 a week in the off-season. He's going to get the academic support. He's going to get all those things up there. I also want you to understand that they just passed a rule in the SEC that a walk-on can get $3,000 a semester if he's eligible and in good standing in the program. So that's $6,000 a year. So we can kind of help these guys. With all this said, I think, let me go back. We don't want anybody on our team to understand who's walked on and who's on scholarship. The only way that they're going to find that out is if the walk-on tells them. We want to treat them all the same. We want to treat them with high expectations. And we want to help them academically. You know, you look at Grant Morgan. He was a walk-on for us and was one of our better players. But when I first got there, there was 35 iPads that weren't there. 35 had 35 walk-ons, so we got that fixed. Whenever anybody on the team gets in there, we're going to suit them up. We're going to get a suit. We're going to tailor it, and we're going to do it for them each and every year. That's everybody on the team. And the academic money that we have now is for everybody on the football team. Now there's high expectations because I believe, maybe not like you can do, I believe that we have enough good players that we can get a great look from our scholarship and walk-on team, walk-on players. That's the expectation. And so we're very proud that we have 13 plus 10, so that means we have 23 kids coming into the program from the state of Arkansas. Okay, next. You know, being a football coach is a really big deal. I mean, it's, I don't know if it's more valuable than doctor or lawyer or whatever, but I know if somebody calls you coach, that's a big-ass deal. I mean, it really is, and it has been in my family. My dad was a football coach, my brother was a football coach, and it's a really big deal. So I want to talk to you just a little bit about being a football coach. The first thing is, and you can agree with me or you cannot agree with me, and I really don't care. What I'm looking for is I'm trying to put things in your mind that make you think. And if you agree with it, fine. If you don't, at least you thought about it. And I believe there's probably somewhere around, as a coach, there's somewhere around 70% of guys on your team that can go, or when you started your team, that can go up here or they can go down here. They're not leaders. They're just sitting there. They want attention, they want this, but they might can go down here as fast as they can go up here. Then there's probably 15 of them that are the greatest thing since sliced bread, and you can tell them go run through that glass and they'll say how fast. Then there's probably another 15% of them down here that you could tell them to go run through some glass and they'll tell you go jump in the lake. They'll tell you I'm not doing that, you know, blah, 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 blah. That, to me, that's your cancer. You can have cancer on your football team. You can have it on your coaching staff. You just got to eliminate it. You got to get rid of it. And it's hard when the so-called cancer might be what you might perceive as your best football player. But if he is, you're not going to win as many games with him on your team as you will if he's not. You have to eliminate the bad kids off your team. I mean, you have to. Once you do that, that 70% of I'm a follower, I'm following somebody, it starts rising up, and then all of a sudden now you've got 65 up here, maybe 10 down here, and then 25 in the middle. Is that right? 65, 10, that's 75. Okay. You get, everybody gets what I'm trying to say. Okay? So, we have done that at Arkansas. We have done that. We have moved that 70% up to, I'm going to run through glass with y'all, coach. We have done that. We haven't done it with all of them. We've done it a lot. And the guys that are down here, we've eliminated a lot of those guys as well. It's not easy, and it can be in your coaching staff as well. The thing I hope that you see with our coaches that have been here, we've actually been here since Wednesday, but we just didn't want to miss it, and they got a casino in town or not? No, we came early because of the weather. Well, I told the athletic director. But anyway, I forgot what the hell I was saying. I was thinking about sheer rolling them bones the other night. But anyway, what I'm trying to get at is there'll be something defining in your program, because people always ask you all the time, well, how'd you do this from that? And I didn't do anything. We all did. The kids included. We all did. But people talk about that all the time, and the bottom line is there'll be a defining moment in there when you do something that tells everybody on the team, you better get to here or you're getting out, one way or the other. And usually it's with one of your better players. And I've got a story, I'm not going to tell it, but I remember that day in our program when somebody was not going to practice, and I told the coach, I said, if you want him, but I said it loud enough for everybody on the team to hear it. I said, if you want him, his ass better be in this stretch line by the time we're stretched, or he's gone. And everybody on the team's like, oh, he's gone? Hell yeah, he's gone. We can win more games without him than we can with him. That's just how it is. And then we went to Mississippi State my first year, and we'd gotten beat by Georgia, got the brakes beat off of us by Georgia in the second game, and we decided as a staff that we're going to leave our second team tailback, our starting defensive end back. And we did, and we went out and won the game. That was another moment when, you know, on the plane the whole way I'm nervous and I'm going, you know, all we got is all we need. All we got is all we need. And as soon as we figured out as a staff that, I got great coaches on my staff, great men, but as soon as we figured out all we have is all we need, all we have is all we need, then the kids, they felt like that too, and we weren't able to go out and beat Mississippi State. I got into it because my dad was a coach, and it's all I knew, to be honest with you. I'm not positive if I thought I was going to be a good coach, a bad coach, or whatever. I got into it because I tried pre-law and business. I had no business being in business, and the pre-law had elementary statistics. If that was elementary, I don't know what middle school was, because that was unbelievable. So I immediately dodged on out of that deal, and I went to coaching. I went on the 6-year plan for a health and PE degree. I said, I'm not the only one. Good for you. I hope you enjoyed college. But I got into it, and I'll be honest with you, I got into it because the word coach in my house meant a lot. Because the word coach was big. I mean, my dad, when he was in the hospital and things of that nature, when they told him coach, his eyes lit up. I mean, the word, you are a coach, and a coach is a big, big, big deal. The importance of being a good teacher, I think all these coaches that have been up here did, like I said before, did such an outstanding job. You have to teach. And, you know, Coach was talking about seeing things before it happened. You know, if you can get your team to be ahead of the other team just because of repetition or because of I've seen it on film. You know, our rule is this, and I mess with Barry and them a lot, and then I go, oh, heck, I shouldn't even have said it. But if you can see something and it's 75% or more, then you ought to talk about it. If it's 3 out of 4, you ought to talk about it. If it gets lower than that, then you're just defeating your own cause. I really believe that. In other words, I see something happen. The guy's moving to his left when he's in the left-handed stance. He's moving to his right. We've got a tackle that's deep right here. Whatever that may be, I try to do that. I try to find some tails on guys and go in and talk to the defense, talk to the offense about it. But it has to be over 75% because if it's of the time when it's on film, because if it's not, you're just screwing up your players and they start playing slow because they don't know. And then the worst thing you can possibly do is say, hey, I got this tip, and you're watching film and that tip ain't worth great. It ain't worth nothing. And so I think you have to be a good teacher. I think you have to be vulnerable. I loved when Buck was talking about running the 40 today. That puts you in a vulnerable spot, and it makes people appreciate you, I think. I do want to say this too. And I think we all should be proud that we're coaches. But your title as a coach does not make who you are. It has nothing to do with who you are. Who you are is who you are. Your title is your title. But who you are as a person, that's just, I'm the head coach at Arkansas. Okay, so it gives me some benefits in a way that I can be up here in front of talking to all y'all tonight. But it doesn't define who I am as a person. And I think what happens is we're trying to go up so fast. We're trying to get this title and that title and this title and this title. Does it affect the man that you are? If it does, slow the hell down. Because a good person is going to get a job way more than one that's stepping over somebody to get there. And be happy where you're at. And quit looking for the next job. Be happy where you're at. And when you do that, that next job will fall in your lap. And when you do that, that head coach that you work for will help you get it. Remember, whatever your title is has nothing to do with the person that's got that title. The person's the person. Coach confident and be honest. I think that we've all talked about that. I don't need to talk about it for a long time, but here's what I'll say. If you're going to say something, do it. If you're going to talk to your kids, do it. If they move from first team to second team, tell them why. You know, we have these evaluations at the end of the year, and to a man on our football team, they want to know exactly why. They can take it. They don't like it. But if you'll tell them exactly why. We say if we put it on a piece of paper, we're going to do it. That means we're going to run you at 6 o'clock on your second class miss. We're going to give you an all-SEC award at the end of the year. Whatever it may be, we're going to do it. And as long as we can do that, we'll have trust in our kids, because the kids are the smartest guys out there. And I'll say this, no matter how close you think you are to a player, he's closer to his friends in the locker room. So if you ever tell a player something about another player, or you ever tell a player, hey, let's keep this between you and I, it will never, and I mean never, be kept between you and him. He's closer to them than he is to you. Don't burn yourself with something like that. And then, as a young coach, you've got to be willing to relocate. You don't have to, but there's a chance that you're going to have to relocate, whether it be in your own state, whether it be across the street, whatever it may be. My wife was 24 when I married her, and she had lived at home for all 24 years. Now, don't get me wrong now, she's fine. I mean, that ain't got nothing to do with living at home. She was eating mama's cooking or something, because she's hot. Okay, let's throw that out there. But she had never left Pittsburgh, Kansas. Well, she has now. I mean, now, I'm not, my in-laws liked me and all that. They hated me through about 2020. I'm popular as all get out now. But you had to relocate. That's my path, and I'm going to tell you something I learned. I'm proud of every one of those stops. I'm very proud of being in high school. Very proud. I think it's who it helped me with who I am, and understanding when I come into your school and understanding what you're going through. I'm proud of that. I'm proud of that I was the dorm director and the O-line coach and the jockey strap washer at us JUCO. I was proud of that. I was proud of that. Now, I can't tell you that there's not times when I go, what the hell am I doing? But I did it. So once I decided to do it, then I was going, I'm going to make it work. But all those jobs right there, I was almost out of college coaching several times in my life. Between Northern Illinois and 95, I was fortunate to land a job at Cincinnati and then leaving Oklahoma and getting to Western Michigan. I didn't get that job until May at Western Michigan. I lied to my wife and I told her how much money I made, and she somehow got the pay stub, and it was quite many $1,000s less than what I was making in Oklahoma. But we'd already there. We'd already moved by that time, so I was okay. That's my resume, and I'm proud of every stop of it, and I worked with some awful good coaches in each and every time. Being assistant coach. All right. Take it very personal to be an assistant coach in that you don't ever want to let the head coach down. That you want him to think, not that you're in his office telling him, you want him to think that you're the most loyal, the hardest working, the best at whatever your job title is. You want him to think that you're the best. And the only way you can do that, in my opinion, is go to work, be loyal to him, be loyal to the school, and probably more than anything, be loyal to the coaches that are around you. That's big. That's big. And I don't know where it is on here, but it's down there. If you, listen, we're all going to get mad. How many in here has ever been mad at your coach before? Liars. Liars. Everybody. Everybody gets mad, okay? How many of you has ever been mad at the administration? He's real mad over there saying, here's what you do, in my opinion. You got to shut the hell up. When you're mad, you got to shut up. You have to. Because here's what happens. I've been through it many times. I've been mad as hell at whoever it may be. And then I'm going, man, this in my mind. And then here he comes by the office. He comes in, he sits down, and he goes, hey, man, hey, you want to go get a beer after work or whatever? And then he's become the greatest thing since sliced bread again. Guess what you didn't do? You didn't burn a bridge. You didn't talk to your co-workers about the guy. You just chilled on it. Because it's going to change. It's going to change. I think that's the biggest thing that the biggest problem that we do. We start yapping all the time when we're upset, when we ought to just sit there And hey, it will change. If the head coach asks you to do something, I just told our new guys that we have, and I'm so proud and so happy that they chose Arkansas to come in with us. When the head coach says something, it's not a suggestion. It's a do it. It's not a suggestion. He's being a good man and suggesting it to you instead of telling you what to do. But don't take it as a suggestion. Charlie Sadler told me in 1994 when I went to work for him, he brought me in his office and he said, hey, you're going to have a list of things that are so important to you, but I'm going to tell you something, and then it goes to the top of the list. Get it done. Get it done. What happens is you'll lose trust of your head coach if he's asked you to do something and you do it on your time. He's asked you to do something, he wants it done. And so I'm just giving you some things from being an old-ass coach standing up here. Speak the same language as head coach and promote that message to your position. Be the head coach of your position. Speak the same language as your coordinators. Speak the same language as the head coach. But if you need to go to the head coach's door, it needs to be important. The head coach, I never realized this, but the head coach has a whole lot of stuff to talk about, to talk to. And I used to think whenever I'd walk in Kirby's office or whomever I was working for, that I was the only coach that walked in there that day. I was the only one at that particular moment. There was 9 other ones that had been there probably that same day. And the secretary and the string coach and the quality control coach and the nutritionist and a whole lot of people. There's a lot of problems, but you got to solve them as fast as you can, and that's part of being the head coach. When you're upset, we talked about that next. Manage your players. This is your job. A good coach handles everything. A good assistant handles everything until he goes, do I need to tell coach about this? And if that comes on your mind, tell the coach about it. Academics, that's your job. That was my job for 30-something years. Attendance, are they going to class? Family members, you got problems with the girlfriends, the social life, them thinking about going into the portal, all that kind of stuff. Let me talk about the portal for 2 seconds here too. All that stuff is your job as an assistant coach. What's my jersey number, coach? Are you kidding me? I better not get to maybe it was my jersey number. Portal. The portal, guys, I'm on the AFCA board, and we've got to put a stop to this portal being 365. It's killing high school recruiting. It's killing high school, in my opinion. And I'm talking about all levels. So the suggestion was to go June 1 to December 1 dead in the portal. That would force all colleges to recruit high school players. And we need to do that because the portal is killing not only SEC, but I would assume that it's killing the MAC schools and Conference USA and schools of that nature as well. So we're going to try to put an end to that so we can go back and recruit high school players like it's been done for years and years and years. Depth chart movements, you got to be honest with them. You got to talk to them. Always be honest with the players. If you're not, it'll kill you. It'll kill your program. Because you want to be honest with you and you're not being honest with them. Just tell them. Why am I starting, coach? Because you got an attitude about every Tuesday. You don't finish your runs. Your hands are so wide you ended up on your face. Whatever it is, because here's the thing, here's what all coaches, and me included, you're going, I tell him that every day on the field, right? I tell him that every day on the field. I tell him that every day on the field. Well, this particular day, he's in your office. Tell him again. He's in that office to hear you tell him, to see if you've got the fortitude, is that a word? I was going to say, Yeah, but you're doing good. Lady down here, so I think it's a word fortitude. That the fortitude that you can do it in your office. He's testing you. He is. Tell him again. And you don't have to say, well, I tell you every day on the field, just, he asks you a question, answer the damn question. Answer it again, and he'll get up, and I promise you, he'll say, I appreciate it, Coach. I didn't say, I agree with you, Coach. He'll say, I appreciate it, Coach, and he'll walk out. Depth chart movements, you can't do that on your own. I think you got to go through your coordinator, it goes through the head coach. But when you do that, where's Bray Cook? Bray, you in here? Yes, sir. I moved Bray Cook on a Sunday night. You remember this, Bray?
I do.
And it was after the Rutgers game, correct?
Correct.
And Bray was starting that guard, correct?
Yes, sir.
And I brought Bray in, and I said, Bray, you suck. I mean, no, I did not. I brought Bray in, and I talked to him, and I said, hey, I'm going to move you to right tackle. Remember this, Bray?
Yes, sir.
And Bray said, who you have in front of me? And I told him, it's the only time it's ever happened in my coaching career. And I told him, and he said, Coach, I'll have him beat out by Saturday. And he did. And he started every game the rest of his career at right tackle. But I don't think, if I wouldn't have called him in and talked to him, that he would have, you know how sometimes we shouldn't, shame on us, but we wait till practice or going out to practice because you're dreading that conversation. Hey, go with the twos a little bit today. Shame on us. Sit them down and talk to them. They'll respect you more. But Bray's the only one that ever, he said, I'm going to beat him out by the end of the week, and he did, and never lost that job again. Bray, I've told that story before. It's not just because you're in here. It's the only time it's ever happened in my career. Everybody always knows where they need to stand. Constant communication. It makes difficult conversations easier. Would you agree with that? How about when you go home with your wife and you've been dreading talking to her about such and such, and you wait till the next day. And then you wait the next day. And it could be something that was simple. Now got a big old zit on it. It's growing, and it's growing, and it's growing. And it's the same thing as, right? If you've got a problem, fix it as fast as you can fix it. Fix it as fast as you can fix it, and guess what happens? Ain't got no problem no more. Fix it as fast as you can, because if you don't, it's going to fester on you. I mean, big time. Next. Recruiting, having players, that does not really pertains to this crowd. That was AFCA. Being a head coach, go ahead. Staff management's a big deal. I learned so much this past year and a half, 2 years about being a head coach that I never even thought of when I was assistant coach. I mean, I really never thought about it in the way that I do now. You've got to have your staff management. You probably need a yearly calendar. Those things were hard because it was my first year. Roster management is a big deal now because of the portal, because of constant changes in how many scholarships numbers you have. It could be the same thing in high school. Your administration, you've got to keep a positive relationship between the administration. No matter how powerful you think you might be, the administrator's job, if he's your AD, he's over you. So you could sit there and say, well, I'm the most damn powerful guy in Arkansas. Well, good for you. That don't do you no good. You're working for somebody that's over you. You've got an athletic career. So if you want something, you need something, and this, that, and the other, that relationship